Hey, I'm Logan. I'm a photographer and video creator, and I just recently picked up a Mamiya RB67, and it's kind of put me on the hunt for my favorite 120 film stock. I've shot medium format film before. I used to own a Pentax 645, and I put a handful of rolls through that. Portra 400, Cinestill 800T, a handful of others. But one film stock that I had never shot on in 120 film was Fujifilm Pro 400H. I've been hearing people rave about Pro 400H, even comparing it in a lot of ways to Portra 400, calling it Fuji's version of Portra 400. I know a lot of people were really devastated when Fuji announced that they were discontinuing Pro 400H, so I had to see what all the hype was about. So I picked up a roll. I invited my friend Dale over to shoot some portraits and go for a little photo walk, and I want to share those photos with you. Before that though, I tried to snap a couple mirror selfies, and I keep doing this with the RB67. I took an accidental double exposure on the first frame. If you've never used an RB67 before, it's got two levers, one to advance the mirror and one to advance the film back. So I think every roll that I've shot on this camera so far, my first frame is accidentally double exposed because I'll advance the mirror, but I'll forget to advance the film back. But I hope that over time, as I continue to use this camera, that becomes less of an issue. I also made this quick little photo of my wife in our living room. And then Dale and I headed out to try and catch golden hour by this little lake next to my house. And one thing I should note, I was kind of experimenting with a Tiffin glimmer glass filter on the front of the lens. I think I used it for like half of these photos, half of it I took it off. And I just wanted to see if I liked the softer, kind of more halated look. And I gotta be honest, I didn't love it, but we can talk more about that as we unpack some of these photos. I love this first shot of Dale with just a splash of light coming across his face. If you look in the background, you can see his shadow being cast on this cement wall. This next shot, this is really a pretty accurate rendition of how things looked in person, kind of more silhouettes against the trees and just some really cool reflections in the water. This photo was a little fun, trying to get creative and get the moon in focus, get Dale out of focus, and I'm pretty happy with it. After snapping a few shots out by the lake, we cruised back inside, and I set up a little pop-up portrait studio in my living room, and we grabbed some portraits. This backdrop definitely gives some elementary school picture day vibes. But this first portrait, I did have the Tiffin glimmer glass filter on. The scans that came back with the glimmer glass filter on the front just felt a little washed out to me. The glimmer glass filter was also on the lens for this photo. Again, just noticing some more green and bluish tones. It just kind of ended up not being my favorite. As far as trying to nail skin tones, and maybe it's just the complexion of Dale's skin in particular, but it felt pretty hard to try and get the skin tones right. This portrait was probably my favorite of the three of them inside the house. I liked the glasses, trying to go for a creative look. I think I ended up enjoying the portraits more of Dale looking off camera as opposed to right at the camera. But yeah, again, definitely noticing more greenish blue tones, especially in the shadows. And yeah, I know there are a lot of factors that come with that. The lab that's scanned, the lens that I use. So I think it's safe to say that Pro 400H is not my favorite film stock in the world. I probably need to give it another shot. And stylistically, if you prefer cooler tones, if you prefer more greens and blues, especially in the highlights and shadows, I think that this film stock will be awesome for you. I think the reason I prefer Kodak Portra 400 or even Kodak Gold is probably because stylistically I prefer warmer tones. So again, just because I didn't love Fujifilm Pro 400H has nothing to do with the quality of the film stock. I thought the images looked crisp and nice. I think just from a color standpoint, I gravitate towards warmer tones as opposed to cooler tones. But if you gravitate towards cooler tones, I think you'll really love the photos that you can make with Fujifilm Pro 400H. I'm definitely still early in this YouTube journey, so please leave a comment and let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see, what you wouldn't like to see, and I'll catch you next time.